sandbags around the doors, in front of the doors, and really throughout the perimeter here of the church where there are doors. The other thing that I want you to take a look at that's going on right now, if you look over there, they have crews that are filling sandbags right now, and we're told that they will be filling a hole. That's the simplest way to describe this, a hole that's back there that they say they feel will prevent more flooding from Hurricane Florence. They say that during Hurricane Matthew, they got a lot of water from the Lumber River that came through that, and they feel that this is going to prevent some of what we saw during Hurricane Matthew. So I'm told that they actually made this request on Tuesday, and that they are now just getting that permission, so they are just quickly trying to get that done right now. And of course, these are not the best conditions for it, because we're already seeing a lot of rain, a lot of wind, but they quickly are getting this together. And you see all the sandbags that they are filling right now. They tell me that the hole that they will be filling is actually on those railroad tracks, and so that's what they're working on right now, and they will continue to do that here. But throughout Lumberton, we are talking to people who are just hoping that this is not a repeat of Hurricane Matthew. I mean, we're hearing about rain possibly reaching 20 inches of rain here in Lumberton from Hurricane Florence. So we're not quite seeing those impacts just yet, but that could change here in the coming hours and in the coming days. Of course, we'll be sure to bring you the very latest. And stay with us, because coming up a little later, we'll talk to a few people who actually lived through Matthew. One man tells me he had to be canoed out of his home, and he's riding out the storm again here today. Back to the studio.
Wow, really hear that wind picking up. Gloria, thank you for that report. And I know that, gosh, it's so close to people who experience Matthew that going through this again is just very, sensitive.
Yeah, those pictures are so dramatic from Matthew. Whole blocks underwater in the Robeson County. And as we said, still recovering to this day, 2 years later.
Yeah, and Bridget was talking about drones. You would want to take that drone and see this incredible flooding and coverage just like this one here.
Is this the Belhaven video? Yeah, okay. This is some pictures taken from Belhaven in Beaufort County. First three photos were taken roughly an hour apart yesterday, and the fourth one was taken this morning. You see how quickly that water rose.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to weather now.
Yeah, and speaking of the drones, the governor said don't use them because there are going to be people in the air that he didn't want them to interact.
I'll tell you, it's almost heartbreaking when I just had somebody on Facebook Live from Robeson County say, what's Robeson County looking like? This is like Matthew. And the potential, unfortunately, is there to see that. I hope you don't, but boy, the winds are picking up. And that's the other question I got asked the most on Facebook. It's not raining that much in my house. Is it going to rain soon? Yeah, this thing is so slow moving that some of these people will not see the peak rain until tonight or even the overnight hours. So certainly a long ways to go on the storm. Let's talk about the watches and warnings first, then we'll tour around on the radar for a minute to see where we're seeing the heaviest rainfall. We have that tornado watch in effect now from Lewisburg to Raleigh on south into Lillington. You can see that tornado watch goes until 5 o'clock tonight, mainly for the eastern counties in the viewing area. And the reason they're in the eastern counties in the viewing area is because they're closest to the core of that storm, and it's going to rotate through. And as it rotates through, it's going to pull these little pockets of cells working in. And as those cells work in, they bring the potential for some tornadic activity. Here are the latest warnings. Boy, we got so many of them. I was doing them screen by screen, but now, unfortunately, I cannot. I've got so many. We'll just list everything. So the green area right now, that's the flash flood watch. That runs through Sunday. It covers almost our entire viewing area. The only counties in North Carolina in our viewing area not included in a flash flood watch or warning: Person County, Granville, Vance, Warren County, Northampton, and Halifax counties as well. Now we've got several warnings here to the south, and we'll go through all the different counties. Wilson and Goldsboro, Wayne County, you two counties, you are under that flash flood watch through 2 o'clock this afternoon. Johnston County's under, a flash flood warning. Johnston County under a flash flood warning. Down here in Sampson County, you've got, I'm looking at the clock right now, you've got about 48 minutes left. They could extend that, though, because you're still seeing the heavy rainfall. Not seeing the heaviest rain yet in Harnett County and Fayetteville and Hope counties, but you are seeing rain pick up. In downtown Fayetteville, you've had over an inch, but the eastern portion of Cumberland County has had 2.5 inches of rainfall so far. I'm gonna step off screen. We're gonna go through a tour of the radar real quick and take a look at a few things around here. Live looking at our Doppler radar. Excuse me. Looking down toward Oak Island, west of Rocky Point, that's where the eye is. It just has not moved at all. Let me stop this for a sec. We'll use some of the tools we have on radar. So we'll back this up a little bit. This is over the past hour, and you can see the center of the eye right about, let's draw a line, put the center right about there. So that's where it was about an hour ago. Now we'll run this ahead an hour, and the center of the rotation is right about there. How far to go? We can put a little ruler on this and see that in an hour this thing has traveled about 10 miles, maybe 12 miles. That's actually, that plot right there, that informal plot's actually a little bit faster than the National Weather Service. They say it's moving about 6 to 9 miles an hour. Zoom it out and look at the radar loop, and the back edge of this shower activity, you'll notice, is running right here. We're seeing rain, heavier rain now, running right down I-85 through Lee County and now into Hope County. That's where the rain shield is. The really heavy rainfall is still down in this area, though, and all of that will continue to press off to the west. We will see that working through and bringing that heavier rainfall to the region. The heaviest rainfall right now running in northern Wayne County and also into Johnston County. You can see that heavier rainfall from Goldsboro on through Johnston County back into Harnett County, and that will continue to rotate through. This is looking at rainfall totals, Doppler radar estimates. We can actually use the radar to judge how much rain has fallen. Down here in the white areas that's not in our viewing area, those areas, over 10 inches of rain. And we'll look at some of the coastal flood. Well, we can do that right now. First, we'll look at our area, and you can see 3.5 inches of rain or so as you get into Johnston County, northern parts of Wayne County, just north of Goldsboro, 4.2 inches of rainfall so far. Let's see if these totals have updated. We're going to take the totals off. We'll put some new totals on here real quick. So this is 795 just north of Goldsboro right now. 5.5 inches of rain have fallen. How about in eastern Cumberland County? 2.1 inches of rain. And we go down into Sampson County. Northern Sampson County, almost 4 inches of rain. Southern Johnston County, 4.5 inches of rain. Southern Wilson County, 4.1 inches of rain. Even eastern Wilson County, 4.3 inches of rain. So that's that heavy swath of rain that has fallen. We're going to turn those off. Let's move this off to the south. I just want to show you some of the coastal totals. We've had a lot of questions about what's down along the coast, these white areas toward Havelock and Harkers Island and Atlantic. We'll look at what some of those rainfall totals are. Here's Emerald Isle. Lots of folks at almost 9 inches there. Harkers Island, 8.2 inches. Atlantic, 10.9 inches. Sneed's Ferry, along the beach, 4.1 inches of rainfall there. Here is the latest. We'll finish up with the latest on Hurricane Florence. Maximum sustained winds at 80 miles an hour, moving west about 6 miles an hour, located 25 miles west-southwest of Wilmington, North Carolina. I do expect it in the Myrtle Beach area. I know we've got Jonah and our videographer Chris Hart down in Myrtle Beach. I think they'll see the bulk of the high winds and heavy rainfall tonight as it arrives around 8 o'clock tonight. By tomorrow at 8 a.m. that's pressing west. By tomorrow, it will be in South Carolina. We'll still feel the effects because this thing's just a monster. It's so wide. We're going to see the effects of it. And then as it pulls back through western North Carolina, the potential to put down some heavy rainfall. And that's why Boone to Asheville are actually under a flash flood watch. And then it goes off to the north and to the east and pulls up through the Atlantic states and on into New England. But just a monster of a storm. It's so huge and it's so slow moving. If it hasn't done a lot at your house yet, and you're going, where is, I feel like it's that old 80s commercial. Where's the beef? Where is it? It's not here yet. It will be. It's just going to take a while to get there.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw how long it took to actually make landfall, that would make more sense.
We have been talking about this storm, honestly, for 10 days.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been tracking it since like Wednesday of last week. So there's still a long ways to go with this as the slow-moving storm continues to churn and continues to pull rain into us.
And I think that's part of it. We've been talking about it for so long. People are like, okay, where is it?
Where is it?
Coming.
We've been waiting. It's coming, don't worry.
Yeah.
I wish I'd be wrong and it would miss, but I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, we got some new video to show you. First of all, here you see a roof blowing off an ABC store on Don's
I think
particularly upset
everything's
about
okay
that.
inside.
This is Owen Drive in Fayetteville. Probably still folks lined up to get business there. But here's some video from the New York Fire Department boats in the water in New Bern. We followed this caravan in, and now they're in the water launching new rescues to rescue those folks who were trapped.
All right, well, this video shows roads washed out. This is in Wrightsville Beach, and you can see, gosh, the debris in the roadway there. And this is video of a neighborhood in Wilmington. It's a mess after trees down. These photos from Jeff Williams on Facebook. Look at this right through. That looks like their kitchen. We've talked to a number of people who've had trees just come through the house and, man-made sunroofs.
Yes, and we're going to have another report about that in just a second. But right now, the effects of the hurricane being felt statewide, including Durham. And you see this tree down on Main Street right by the Duke campus. If you have to go out, it's still dangerous, and the winds are still blowing very strongly and could always topple over trees that are in the saturated ground.
No doubt about that. All right,
let's continue on now. Joe Mazer has found a situation in Fuquay Arena near the historic district where, move that over there a little bit, where a tree has fallen over onto a house. Joe, can you hear us? Are you there, Joe?
Probably. You can probably... Yes, can you not hear me? I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes, okay, so you've got this tree you can see. It's actually a tree limb that has fallen on the Walter Aiken house. So if you're familiar with downtown Fuquay, Verena, this is on Fuquay Avenue. This is a 100-year-old historic house. Walter Aiken, who was a tobacco farmer 100 years ago, was the third mayor of Fuquay. So some people who have been living here, the Ridpaths, they've lived in this house for about 10 years. So about 11 o'clock this morning, this giant branch on what is a water oak split off this tree, landed on top of their house. Fortunately, nobody was injured, and they're actually in really good spirits about the whole thing. And there's not even, they say it's kind of affecting the attic, but no water is coming in at this point. But you can see how ginormous this branch is. They were worried going into this. This is a possibility because
And we lost his shot. But that was an incredible video of a tree that fell on that historic house.
100 years old.
Unbelievable.
And the house is, not the tree. The tree may be older than that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like we're hearing more and more stories about trees falling on homes, and I actually got a Facebook message from a viewer, and she is in her townhome, and there's a tree that fell, a couple of trees that fell, and one is tangled up in power lines.
generator at the hotel, and I have my vehicle, and Goldman has a generator. He brought one from Atlanta. But they're not even Goldman went to North Carolina today.
Power lines in the trees kind of whipping around in the wind. It is probably 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts, but we have not seen really anything in the way of catastrophic damage. I have not seen any saltwater intrusion onto US 421 at this point, and that's absolutely fantastic news. As you know, that was one of the main concerns, at least this high tide cycle, if we would see some dune breaching. And so far, as I make my way south out of the Central Business District in Carolina Beach into Curie Beach, we have not seen any problems. I'm now at E Street, and again, there's some minor fences down. I've seen a few stairways that didn't make the storm, a couple of smaller trees like these ones you might see here on the left, cedar-type trees leaning backwards. We have seen a few signs laying down as well, but for the most part, things are looking pretty good. We are on our way to Fort Fisher. I previewed this on Thursday. Actually, I guess it was on, what day is it? Tuesday. That we were going to take a look at the riggings before and after. That's a spot that has been under the microscope in the discussion of storm erosion and beach erosion. So we're going to go down and see how well they have fared. A couple mailboxes down here. You notice there are a few places where gutters have been pulled away. That looks dramatic. Of course, that's just the Tyvek wrapping on a house that they were building. Probably going to have some work to do in there. Seen a few signs down, but haven't seen anybody out, which is good, and haven't seen too much in the way of damage. Of course, it was about a half hour after we saw the thick of it in Carolina Beach that this moved through Curie Beach and then eventually across the river into Oak Island. But surprisingly, thus far, things look pretty good.
Well, that's actually good news. I mean, when we spoke with Chelsea just a few minutes ago, different look from where she is. So where you are, the roads seem very passable. But again, urging everyone to please stay indoors still because this storm is far from over.
And Colin, have you driven by the lake? I know they drained it before the storm came through. Any fears that the excess rain and the overwash is causing any problems down around the lake in Carolina Beach?
I don't know if we're still up, but if we are, I'm trying to get in on the talkback line, and it is now busy.
Okay, so we're going to check back in with Colin, who is driving around giving us a perspective on the way Carolina Beach looks right now. But again, we have been saying that the storm is not over. We're going to continue to see high winds, rain, flooding. For more on that, let's go to Jesslyn Florence for the latest.
Yeah, guys, like you said, this is not over. We saw a lot of that earlier yesterday, in through the night, into this morning. But it's just going to continue. We're going to continue to see that heavy rain and flooding. This is going to be our major concern as we go throughout the next couple of days. That storm is just going to be sitting over us through tomorrow, Sunday, making its way out Monday. But it's a very slow-moving storm, dumping lots and lots of rain on us. So we're going to be seeing lots of that river flooding because also we're going to be seeing that surge as well. So the river flooding is not going to have anywhere to go. And also that damaging wind. We can hear it outside of our studio. It is whipping out there. We also have that threat for tornadoes. You get towards the backside of the system, and that's where we have that increased chance of tornadoes to happen as well. So here's what we're looking at right now. You can see the yellows, the reds, and also the oranges, and this is what's going to whip around and start moving into back around. We saw all those trees down in some of those videos. We had all the saturated ground, then the winds that are blowing the trees this way. We've been talking about that throughout the day. They're blowing one way, and then you get the backside of the storm. It's blowing it the other way. So we're going to be seeing multiple wind damage associated with these storms as we continue to go throughout the next couple of days. But take a look at the estimated rainfall, what we have seen already. This has been in the last 24 hours, and as I mentioned, we're going to be seeing even more, somewhere close to 12 to 18 more inches potentially of this rainfall. Already seeing about 14.3 inches close to Oak Island, 6.3 here in Wilmington, 6 closer to Baga. And it's a little bit less as you get more inland because the storm is sitting over Highway 17 right now. It's just making that slow trek right down Highway 17. But as I mentioned, just dumping just buckets of rain on us here. And the wind, also an issue. We're seeing 35-mile-an-hour wind sustained in Wilmington, 36 in Jacksonville. You can see lots of the areas are actually, the sensors are getting kicked out because of this wind, because of this rain. 30 miles per hour in North Myrtle Beach, and the gusts are an issue too. We're still seeing tropical storm force gusts and hurricane force gusts as well. 52 in Wilmington, 56 in Jacksonville. We continue to see all of this damage being sent into our WECT community page, our See It, Snap It, Send It. We're seeing lots and lots of people seeing all of this damage. So if you don't have to go outside, don't do it. Stay put. And we're also advising people, if you have evacuated, stay where you are. You don't need to come back. This is going to be a multi-day event. We actually recorded the second highest winds recorded in Wilmington with this storm, 105 miles per hour recorded in Wilmington. We had Helene back in 1958 recorded 135 miles per hour. But before this, people were comparing this to Hurricane Hazel back in 1954. But take a look at that, only 98 miles per hour, and we passed that 105 miles per hour from Hurricane Florence that made landfall around 7:15 this morning. But as I mentioned, a very slow moving storm. It's a Category 1 right now, and it is expected to slowly make its way. It is going to die down as we get into the next couple of days. even Saturday, Sunday, you can see it's just going to be sitting over the Carolinas, just dumping all of that rain. We're still going to be getting that flow pushing into the beaches. So we're going to be still seeing that surge, still seeing all that river.
Southview High School, capacity for 310, with a current population of 154. W.T. Brown Elementary School, capacity for 90, and current population of 21. So we're looking at a total capacity of 1,225, but the actual current population as of, again, 10:50 this morning is 561 people. Please know that there may be limited number of cots at some shelters, and residents should take sleeping bags, blankets, mats, and/or cots if you're planning to relocate to a shelter. FAST will continue to provide transportation. We will notify everyone if that should change due to the weather conditions. You can anticipate that at some point that could change, but we will announce that and we'll put that out. But until then, they will offer service if that is needed to transport to a shelter. And again, you can call the non-emergency number that's listed here at 910-678-7657. Again, that's 910-678-7657. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nick Petro so he can give us an update on the weather and the hurricane.
Thank you. Hurricane Florence has been a devastating storm so far. We've seen major storm surge, inundation at the coast, devastating storm surge, damaging winds, flooding right along the coast and across the rivers in eastern North Carolina. The storm has now made landfall and is gradually moving west and southwest across the Cape Fear region. It's moving very slowly, and that creates